Let's make my mom's arroz con pollo. Obviously I'm biased, but this really is the best arroz con pollo I've ever had. Luckily, my parents are not the kind of people who gatekeep recipes, and she shared this one with me so that I can share it with you. It's got that perfect balance of crispy chicken skin, perfectly cooked rice, and lots of flavor. Everything you want in a one-pot meal. I even have instructions and tips on how to achieve that crispy rice, aka Pagao, if you're into that. Let's get started.
The first tip my mom gave me when teaching me how to make this recipe was to build flavor in layers. So we are starting by seasoning our chicken with sazon and adobo seasoning. I'm using a mix of chicken thighs and chicken drumsticks, but you can use whatever pieces of chicken you like here. I like skin on, bone in, but again, it's totally up to your preference. Just make sure that chicken is thoroughly coated in seasonings before moving on to the next step. So in the base of a caldero or Dutch oven, we are searing this chicken skin side down in some achiote oil. If you don't have achiote oil, you can just use olive oil or whatever cooking oil you lean towards. I just love the color and subtle smokiness that the achiote oil lends to that chicken. So anyway, we are building this first layer of flavor by searing off our chicken. We want to get lots of color on it, especially if you're using skin on chicken. We want to get that skin nice and crispy. Nobody likes rubbery skin in their chicken, so sear that off on all sides before transferring it to a plate to just hang out until we're ready to add it back in. You're gonna have these beautiful brown bits from that chicken in your pot left over. Keep those there, and to that we're adding our sofrito and one diced onion. We're going to saute that for just a few minutes until that sofrito becomes nice and fragrant, and then we'll add a diced red pepper as well as our salt and pepper and just mix that in to evenly incorporate with the sofrito and the onions. You only need to cook this for a couple minutes. Then we are adding in our tomato sauce, just a little bit here, as well as our pimento olives. I like to cut these in half, but that's totally up to you. And then some short to medium grain white rice. We are stirring this all together to get each grain of rice evenly coated in all of those seasonings and those layers of flavor. Also, if you're cooking while making this, don't forget that I always include the exact ingredient amounts in the description box below. And once that rice is evenly coated, we're going to add in our broth. I like to start with 3.5 cups of broth and just let that cook, reserving a half cup on the side in case I need to add more. At this point, we're going to just mix everything together, turn the heat up to high. I like to do a little bit of scraping of the base of the pan here just to make sure any of those brown bits on the base are incorporated into this broth. And we're just waiting for it to come to a rolling boil here before adding that chicken back to the top of that rice. It's going to sit on top perfectly here, so I like to put the skin side up for those thighs just to preserve some of that crispiness. And then we are good to cover this and turn off the heat and transfer this into our oven. We're baking this at 350 degrees for 30 minutes or until that rice is fully cooked through. Remembering that half a cup of reserved broth, if you need it, you can always add a splash more. I usually don't end up needing it, but I like to have it just in case. So after those 30 minutes are up, I like to check the rice. I taste it, make sure it has good flavor, make sure it's cooked through, and then remove the chicken and add in our peas. Now, my mom's original recipe had the peas go in before everything went into the oven, but I like to add them at this stage just because they stay nice and bright green and fresh. But totally up to you when you'd like to add them in. If you add them at this stage, you just want to make sure that you fluff them into the rice so that they get evenly incorporated like you see here. I don't know, there's just something about that bright, vibrant green color that really feels so appetizing to me. And I think they stay sweeter. Anyway, at this point, you are all done with your arroz con pollo. If you want pagao, if you want that crispy rice, you can add this back to the stovetop and drizzle some olive oil around the corner of the pan. You could also use achiote oil here. And just cook over medium heat for like 5 to 10 minutes until you feel that crispy rice start to form at the bottom. You can test it with a wooden spoon and just pull it away from the pan and see if it's been achieved or not. And then you are all ready to enjoy. This is the perfect meal to make for a crowd, for a dinner party. Just serve alongside a simple salad and you are ready to go.
So good. If you like this recipe, please take a minute to like and subscribe to my channel. It means so much to me. And I'll see you guys next time.